Hey everyone, we're here in Madagascar, and in this video, we're going to show you the best road trip route so you can see the highlight destinations as well as some hidden gems of the country. So hope you enjoy it. Madagascar is a land of raw beauty and unique wildlife found nowhere else on the planet. But a journey here is less a simple road trip and more of a grand rugged expedition, where the travel itself is as significant as the destination. In this video, we'll share our 3-week journey around the country, giving a practical roadmap to help you navigate this massive island. Whether you have 2 weeks or 3, we're sharing essential logistical details, including driving times, must-see spots, and cultural encounters that make this country one of the most rewarding yet challenging places you'll ever visit. Now let's dive in. We are Zach and Ina. We make helpful videos about destinations around the world so you can easily plan your own adventures. Our journey kicked off at Ifaty Airport, the primary gateway to Madagascar's capital of Antananarivo, which is often referred to as Tana by the locals. We spent our first day settling in and dealing with initial trip errands, like finding a cash machine that would actually dispense money for us. While the city center is about a 45-minute drive from Ifaty, it's worth the trip for a deeper look at the capital. We spent an afternoon at the Queen's Palace, which provides both panoramic views of the cityscape and an essential historical context on Madagascar's pre-colonial times. Just know that Tana can be incredibly chaotic and gritty, so keep a close eye on any important belongings and stay alert while navigating the busy streets. Leaving the intensity of Tana behind, the road winds south through rugged highland villages and terraced rice paddies. The drive to Antsirabe took a little over 5 hours, as the roads were quite bumpy and potholed. But crews were also hard at work fixing this road section, so it could be a much faster journey in the future. As the third largest city in the country, Antsirabe has a distinct energy. Once we arrived, we traded the car for a puss-puss to explore the colonial center. It's the most common local transport option in the city. A highlight of the region was Lake Tritriva, which is a striking volcanic crater lake. Formed by a violent eruption, the lake is a deep enclosed basin, filled with mineral-rich water and framed by jagged cliffs. We spent about an hour on a relatively easy guided walk around the rim, which gave us a great perspective of the unique landscape. The total cost for the two of us to enter the lake area and have a guide show us around was 60,000 ariary at the time of our visit. Heading south, it was a 7-hour drive through endless highland rice paddies, offering a window into the daily lives of those working the fields. On the way, we stopped in Andringitra to observe local woodcarvers at work. The craftsmanship was incredible here, making it the perfect spot to pick up authentic hand-carved souvenirs while supporting the artists. Arriving in Ranomafana felt like entering another world, as we stepped into a lush, untouched rainforest. We spent our first evening on a night safari along the roadside, spotting camouflaged chameleons and the tiny, adorable mouse lemur. The next day, we woke up early for a 5-hour guided trek through the dense jungle canopy. The goal was to find endemic insects, reptiles, and the rare golden bamboo lemur, a species that can't be found anywhere else on Earth. We were also lucky to encounter many other lemur species. The nearby Ranomafana village is equally charming, nestled in the rainforest near cascading waterfalls. It's the perfect place to grab lunch, wander the streets, or spot the resident chameleons hiding in the jackfruit tree. The 5-hour drive to Ambalavao carried us through some of the country's most spectacular highland landscapes. Along the way, we frequently shared the road with herds of zebu, the national animal and true heartbeat of the Malagasy economy. Ambalavao is known as a hub for traditional crafts and gave us a rare look into long-standing heritage. We visited local factories where women artisans explained the process of harvesting cocoons from the tapia forests to weave durable, richly textured silk. At the nearby paper factory, we watched the transformation of bark into beautiful floral pressed paper, a technique that's remained unchanged for generations. Beyond the crafts, the town is framed by giant granite peaks. The nearby Anja Community Reserve is the best place to soak in this scenery. We spent an hour on a guided walk winding through boulder-strewn paths to reach stunning viewpoints. The highlight, however, was spotting ring-tailed lemurs sunbathing and doing yoga poses on the warm granite rocks. To top it off, we stayed at the Betsileo Country Lodge for a few nights. Having those sweeping sunset views right from our deck was the perfect way to relax after our nature and culture-filled days. From Ambalavao, we headed deeper into the mountains toward the majestic Tsaranoro Valley. The bumpy, unpaved road was an experience in itself, as we wound through small villages. It happened to be market day when we visited, and the road was bustling with locals making their way there either by foot or with zebu-drawn carts. With such a stunning mountain backdrop, it's easy to see why this area became one of the major highlights of our trip. Tsaranoro Valley offers a range of hiking trails suitable for various fitness levels. We opted for the 7.6-kilometer or 4.7-mile track up to Chameleon Peak. The trail strikes a great balance between being well-marked and adventurous, featuring an elevation gain of 590 meters or 1,935 feet. The initial climb is steep, offering a constant view of the peak, which aptly resembles the reptile's head. Once we reached the summit, we were rewarded with sweeping 360 views. We took some time to admire the lichen-covered granite from every angle before descending on the other side. The way down offered some more beautiful vistas, eventually leading us into the forest where we finished our hike at Camp Kata. At the end of the trail, we even spotted ring-tailed lemurs playing in the trees nearby. After leaving the valley, we set off on our most scenic drive yet. During the 5 or 6 hour journey to Isalo National Park, the landscape transformed from highland plateaus to deserted grasslands, sandstone massifs, and far-reaching horizons. Upon checking into the charming Isalo Ranch, we drove to the Isalo window to catch the sunset through the natural rock formation. We were a little surprised by the crowds, but quickly learned that this is the most popular national park in the country. It was the perfect opportunity to chat with our driver guide about the unique road challenges that this country presents.
My name is Jari. I'm a driver at Road Trip Africa in Madagascar. The hardest part is everywhere you go, you always see zebus, potholes, or chickens as well, but you have to pay attention. My favorite road in the country, the RM7, because along the road you'll see the changing of landscapes, the differences of the people and the tribes existing here. It's a beautiful island. There is a lot to see, to explore, and always explore the country with a local people, like a local guide or local driver. They know the secret place, and they know also the safe place to bring you.
The next day, we dedicated a full morning and afternoon to exploring Isalo National Park. This arid region is the ancestral land of the Bara people, who traditionally use the park's mountain caves as sacred burial sites. We learned more about this history during a 12-kilometer or 7.5-mile point-to-point hike, trekking through vast golden plains towards sun-baked canyons and dramatic viewpoints. The real reward was discovering the numerous natural oases. Between the famous Piscine Naturelle, the Blue Pool, and the Black Pool, we found a fascinating contrast to the otherwise dry terrain. We reached the Black Pool by midday, which was the ideal time for a refreshing swim in the icy waters. The walk through the canyon to these hidden paradises was nothing short of amazing, and after cooling off, we enjoyed a barbecue lunch at the park's designated campsite, where curious lemurs played in the trees around us. During the 6-hour drive to the coast, the landscape began to flatten, and the first baobab trees started to appear. Along the way, we stopped at a rum distillery to learn how the locals transform sugarcane into a potent spirit, with minimal resources and equipment. This stretch of road also exposed us to the harsh realities of the dry South, where water scarcity is an everyday challenge. Witnessing that daily struggle made us think more about what we could contribute towards improving some of these issues. That's why we've chosen to support Seed Madagascar, an organization working on the front lines to build sustainable water infrastructure for communities like this. We're donating 100% of this video's proceeds to their mission. If you'd like to join us in making an impact, please consider donating via the link in the description or the QR code on the screen. They work directly with local communities to ensure the infrastructure lasts, getting support straight to the source. Now let's get back to our Madagascar road trip. We eventually reached Tuliara, a significant fishing hub with a domestic airport. For those with a shorter itinerary of only 10 to 14 days, we highly recommend flying out of here after spending a few last days relaxing by the coast. There's several charming beach communities along the west coast to choose from. We opted for Ifaty and stayed at a hotel right on the sand, offering stunning ocean and sunset views. It was a great base to unwind, enjoy fresh local seafood, and spend some time lounging by the pool or the beach. While the shoreline outside the hotel boundaries can feel a bit overwhelming due to persistent local vendors, we definitely suggest arranging a snorkeling or diving tour. We boarded a traditional wooden boat in the morning and sailed to 2 different sites, Massif de Rose and Morondava. We were free to anchor and snorkel for as long as we liked at each spot. It was an incredibly authentic experience, and we had the vibrant, untouched reefs almost entirely to ourselves. The journey to Morondava felt like a true expedition. After fueling up and securing an extra canister of petrol, we started our drive on smooth pavement, likely the best road in the entire country. However, after about 3.5 hours, we arrived at a precarious river crossing where we had to board the local Baobab ferry. It was quite the experience. Pretty crazy scene here. We have 6 canoes strapped together on a wooden plank, and then 5 guys pushing us across the river, our car on top. Pretty rugged. Afterward, we continued for another hour on a paved road before reaching the small village of Mansa. While some travelers break up the journey here, we decided to tackle the route in one day. The final leg involved navigating challenging sandy single-lane tracks, winding through dense brush and shallow river crossings. With absolutely no traffic signs in sight, we were grateful to have a driver who knew the route by heart. Upon arriving in Morondava, we checked into a cozy beachfront hotel to rest for the night. The following day, we took a traditional pirogue to the nearby fishing village of Betania. It was eye-opening to observe the fishermen's daily routines, see how they live, and watch them craft their own fishing boats from scratch. One of the friendly residents even showed us how they scale the towering palm trees to harvest fresh coconuts. After wrapping up our visit to the fishing village, we took some time to explore the local scene of Morondava itself. This city has a laid-back coastal vibe that's perfect for relaxing and divulging in some high-quality seafood. It also has some cozy hotels and a really long stretch of sandy coastline that's great for beach walks. You can even have some nice wildlife encounters at the nearby Zazamalala Nature Conservation. This dry forest is a critical sanctuary for a number of endangered plants and animals. We were particularly moved by their work protecting the tortoises, which are kept in a safe, enclosed botanical garden. We also enjoyed a small walk through the forest, where we spotted wild sifakas up in the treetops. Similar to Tuliara, Morondava has a domestic airport as well, making it a convenient place to fly out from if you're crunched for time. A 45-minute drive from Morondava brought us to the world-famous Baobab Avenue. These towering giants have massive trunks that reach up to 30 meters or about 100 feet tall and are Madagascar's most iconic landmark. We were lucky enough to pass them twice, once on our way to Kirindy Forest and again on our return from Tsingy National Park. The daytime offered a peaceful experience with almost no one around, while sunset proved to be surprisingly busy with tour buses arriving from Morondava. But even with the crowds, the gorgeous silhouettes against the evening sky were well worth the visit. From Baobab Avenue, we continued for another hour and a half to Kirindy Forest for both day and night safaris. The terrain here is flat and easy to traverse, making it a fantastic spot to observe various lemur species in their natural habitat. During the evening safari, we spotted fork-marked lemurs, gray mouse lemurs, and red-tailed sportive lemurs, while the daytime was full of sifakas and red-fronted brown lemurs. The one animal we didn't spot was the elusive fossa, which Kirindy is famous for. But we put a stock video of what one looks like on the screen here, so you know what to look for during your own adventure. We really enjoyed wandering through this dry forest and immersing ourselves in the unique nature. The journey to Tsingy was our most challenging drive yet. 8 hours of dusty remote tracks carved with deep ruts. We broke up the transit with a scenic hour-long crossing on a wooden ferry, arriving around lunchtime in the remote town of Belu-sur-Tsiribinha. This place is home to Mad Zebu, an exceptional restaurant run by a Malagasy chef who traded a 3-star Michelin kitchen in France for this unique spot in the middle of nowhere. It was a delicious refueling point before tackling the final stretch of road. After bouncing around some more bumpy roads and seeing other cars get pulled out of the mud by locals, we made it to one last short river crossing. This brought us to Bakupka, the gateway to the UNESCO-listed Tsingy de Bemra. Exploring this national park was a definitive highlight of our trip. We spent our first day on a 1-hour boat ride, admiring the dramatic limestone landscape from the water and visiting hidden caves. This was followed by a light hike through the small Tsingy, an accessible introduction to the region that showcases a few fascinating limestone passages and clusters of weathered stone pinnacles. The next day, we drove a rough road for another hour or so to the starting point of the Big Tsingy, strapping into our harnesses to navigate the razor-sharp limestone needles. The loop was about 3.5 kilometers or 2.2 miles and took us deep into a forest of stone, weaving through caves and narrow slot canyons. We navigated the vertical ascent using a series of via ferrata rungs and ladders, which is where the harness became essential. Crossing the suspension bridge and hanging high above the canyons provided some incredible views. We eventually circled back to the entrance through a shaded forest trail, where we were lucky enough to spot some local wildlife. The entire route took us about 4 hours, as we made sure to take our time and soak in the surreal landscape of this special place. The journey back to Antananarivo was the most daunting part of the trip. It was a 10-hour drive just to return to Morondava, followed by a long haul through Morondava and Antsirabe. If we were to do it again, we would absolutely fly from Morondava back to the capital city, which would save precious days of exhausting travel. While the drive back is long, it serves as a final reminder that in Madagascar, the journey is never just a way to get from point A to B. In fact, it's the very heart of the adventure. The rough roads in this country taught us to be patient and to embrace the unexpected. If you find yourself with a bit more time, there's 2 more areas we definitely recommend adding to your Madagascar itinerary. First is Antsirabe, home to some of the country's most incredible primary rainforests and the famous Indri lemur. It's a relatively easy detour from Antananarivo, though we recommend setting aside at least 3 extra days to fully explore the park. Alternatively, if you're craving a tropical island escape, Nosy Bay is the place to go. Since it's located just off the northern coast, you'll need to factor in a domestic flight to and from Tana. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you're planning a trip to Madagascar, don't miss our essential travel tips and top 10 destination videos. They're packed with even more useful information. We'll catch you on the next adventure.